Whoa, secret number 4 to spiraling up more efficiently and effectively. This is about our iteration cycle. Specifically, what is going to make this next iteration better than the last. In this video, we are breaking this into 4 main sections, and A, it is a better vision, a better goal. Periodically, we might change even our meta purpose or anything in our goal stack that lines up with that. So if we have a better goal, we're going to be going about it in a better way. B, we're going to be looking at better actions and efforts, not necessarily more actions or more effort or less, but better. We're also going to be working with better information. If we have better information, then we might change our actions and our efforts or even change our goal, right? And D, better team engagement. Now, if you're thinking holistically, yes, the team is everything ever and all time, but you have more realm of responsibility with certain team members than others. So that's where we are focusing. So A, a better vision, a better goal. Word of warning, kind of first off here, if your goals and intentions haven't changed in years, one part of me wants to commend you of being really loyal to that. But I would also say that it is really time to check in and probably update them, because those old goals may not be as inspiring or specific or even relevant as what you are ready for now. I know you know this already, but it is worth just kind of planting the seeds back into your mind fresh. As we mature and go through different life stages, we probably have a different priority, kind of at the top of the list there. And we probably have different values. And this might change our goal stack entirely. And if we're not aware of that, then maybe we're being loyal to an old goal stack that isn't in our best interests anymore. That's not where we would want to be, right? And just changing that could have a huge impact on the next iteration cycle. We probably have a different perspective on life. We are probably aware of things that we were previously ignorant to. This is kind of the having better information side of things that influences our goals and our vision of how we want our life to be. We have these people, we have these inspirations that come to us and we suddenly go, wow, I didn't even know that was possible. I had no idea that was a thing. And that seed might get planted in our mind. And if you're exposed to a lot of interesting people, then you're probably getting a lot of those all the time. And that way, the way that you see world and the way that you see possibility can change really, really fast. So that might mean your goals and your vision changes relatively fast as you find something that it's better, it's more preferred. Why not aim for that instead of being loyal to that old target that you don't care about that much anymore? So the action here, I kind of call these the birthday questions because they're the questions that people usually ask on their birthday, and they're kind of philosophical and oh my gosh, I'm older. What am I doing with my life? Why am I here? I like to do this with an annual, quarterly, review thing. I actually do one on my birthday, but I also do them on a set schedule as well. And these reviews, these updates and whatnot, these check-ins are very, very useful. We just want to face these questions and make our iteration cycle better on a regular basis. Like weekly activities, your weekly workout or your monthly periodization, whatever. And on the bigger scale, you might have your annual or even your decade-long check-ins. You look back at the whole decade and be like, wow, what have I done here? How can I do things better moving forwards with my new strengths, my new knowledge, all of that? Create new goals moving forwards for you and your team members. Remember, there's a little bonus section here in your workbook where you can access the templates that I use in my quarterly review or monthly reviews and whatnot. That just super helpful questions. And of course, you can edit them. You can change it however you want. They're just a template. It's just an idea. Make it as useful as you want to for you. I'm sure mine change every year. My questions change every year. So depending on when they're watching this video, maybe you can email me and ask me, have I changed my templates? Can I give you new ones? Go for it. B, better actions and efforts. Unfortunately, there is no simple formula for finding out the right actions and the right amount of effort or whatnot. You basically just have to work with the experience that you have. Some questions here. Are our actions in alignment with the life we most want to create and experience? Probably some of them are. Probably some of them, kind of aren't. Skipping workouts or doing workouts with bad form. People know these things on some level, but there's some sort of like missing gear of understanding. And they're like, yeah, I know my form sucks, but they don't connect the dots between form sucking, doing a lot of weight and a lot of reps, not, their knees actually hurt already. And for some reason, they don't connect the dots between like, maybe I should change my actions or at least go with a lighter weight or like ask somebody. It's just the dots don't connect. And I'm sure you know examples of this, in or outside of the gym. What could change there? I mean, one is just like awareness, just taking that step back and connecting those dots is probably an essential step. And that's often when people hire things like a coach to help them kind of get a perspective and tell them what they probably already know on some level. They're like, oh yeah, I knew that, I just didn't do that. And then they have accountability and it works. The other thing is sufficient efforts, the right amount of efforts, not necessarily more, not necessarily less, but a professional in anything, whether that is surfing or whether that is building a business or whatever, a professional knows how much effort is the right amount and when to apply it to make the most productive action, to make the most desired result. And I love seeing this. Like I was surfing this morning and like the professional surfer, the person that's really good, they wait in the right spot. They know where to be. They wait for the right time time that the wave is coming along. And then just at the right time, with very little error kind of wiggle room, they paddle at the right intensity, at the right speed, and then put a lot of intensity right at the key moment there, and then stand up right at the key moment. So they're doing slightly different actions in the right time with a certain amount of effort, and that is what gives the desired results, at least most of the time. We can apply that metaphor of like the surfer everywhere, right? That is one of those things, like we can always time our efforts to get better results. In our general health, with biohacking, we are really trying to do the same thing. We're trying to make the most out of our effort to experience the most results from the least inputs, just timing those inputs and efforts to be very precise, right? With experience, we come to know what actions are actually important and what can be eliminated, and how to optimize our efforts for the most significant and meaningful progress. And I say optimize because it might be more, it might be less at different times, or whatever. We have to optimize our efforts. And a lot of the time, if you're watching this, you're probably on the hard charger kind of spectrum and you're like trying to figure out better ways to do things, and that's a habit. But often optimizing our efforts is recovery. It's going like deep rest. It almost takes effort to rest deeply for some of us, right? But that is important, that is essential to a large degree if we want peak performance. Another couple of questions to plant in your mind when you are thinking through your next iteration. Do I need to do more of the same thing that I am doing so I get better at the small details and all that? Or do I need to change my task entirely? An example of this is, let's say you started a podcast, and most podcasts, they do absolutely nothing for the first 100 episodes. They're totally unwatched for the most part. And then maybe they start getting traction and whatnot. And the podcasts that are very successful, they basically do that for years and years and years. And yes, they're still doing the same activity of the podcast, but their little details, down to their title, to their topic, who they interview, how they talk, that improves over time. So their small details get way better. And, the iteration cycles, every episode is an iteration cycle, but their task remains the same. Or some people, maybe they start that podcast and they realize this is just totally not what they want to do with their lives, and there's a more meaningful way to get to the outcome that they want. They might just stop podcasting and do something different entirely to get to that outcome faster, to experience and create the life that they want to live better. That just isn't podcasting. Does that make sense to you in the world of your health and fitness? In health and fitness, I could use the example of getting better at running on a treadmill. Is it worth getting your treadmill practice really dialed in, or maybe just doing a different task entirely? You could start doing high intensity interval training or something, just a totally different workout format, and invest your energy and your time and get better at the little details in a totally different area. That might yield more results. There's no quick and easy formula or even advice somebody can give you to kind of determine what is the right way for you, because you are the only one that knows your goals, your intentions, your experience, your wisdom intimately. And that's why I encourage people to be their own coach in every sense that they can be, consulting people when they need to consult people. Hopefully all of us as coaches have other coaches as well. So we are growing up as best as we can. But first and foremost, you are your own coach because you know yourself better than anybody else, and you can update your things faster than anybody else can. That is why this is important. So action steps are here. You can experiment with different ways of producing the result that you want, and you can experiment with applying different amount of effort levels. There is a strange phenomenon that, let's say you change nothing about your workout routine except you take a couple of workouts out of it so you have more recovery time. That could increase the results that you want, which is why we want to think of both of these. On the other hand, you might just change your workouts entirely and that's going to give you more of what you want to. I hope that this little seed in your mind helps you make your next iteration cycle better. Part C here, better information. Right now, we probably have more useful information, more context and understanding, and more clarity on the aim and the principles than we have ever had before. If we don't, then we haven't been learning. Remember, we have not proved our learning until we respond differently when faced with a similar situation. That is how we prove that we've actually learned something, right? And our learning is not actually proven useful unless our different responses are genuinely preferable to our old way of operating. That is a little bit of a mouthful, so I'm going to say that again. We do not prove our learning until we respond differently to a similar situation. And our learning is only proven useful if our different responses are actually preferable to our old way of operating. There's two parts to that, right? So our action steps for working with better information means learning consolidation. This is writing, this is talking, this is quality sleep. This is deliberate practice to make use of the better information and acquire more of it if that is relevant, that is meaningful. Part of sharpening the saw is having your inputs be good quality information, whether that is coming from somebody else, coming from a mentor, coming from somebody who has different experiences, coming from somebody that has made mistakes, that you do not want to make yourself, for instance. This is all information, and when you have this better information, you can make wiser choices from there. I know you already know that, but are you actively practicing it to make your next iteration better? D here, better team engagement. How can you make your team engagement better for this next iteration? How can we create and experience better results by working with the team more synergistically? Now, the team, as we're defining it here, are officially or unofficially our mentors and our coaches, our peers and our friends who are on a similar journey. Students of ours, officially or unofficially, they give us a fresh perspective and they help us work on the basics, which is always useful. The fastest way to learn something is to teach it. Well, that's what this is about too, right? Then you also have like direct team members in a workplace project or something. You might have teammates working on separate parts of the project and you have to collaborate logistically and make sure everything is on the same page there. And you also have just your general support network, which might be your family or your friends or something, or your parents or whatever. The support network is part of your team and allows you to maybe take bigger risks than you otherwise would, or allows you to take a harder attack charge because you're able to rely on them for recovery a little bit more, for instance. Now, keeping all these relationships in mind, remember that we can only control what we are personally responsible for, but we can have tough conversations if we need to. We can create more clarity and alignment by having a conversation, by clarifying the intention and the vision with these other people. We can receive, we can invest in, or we can give better quality information to the team. We can, of course, modify our actions and our efforts so we all work together for a better result, more effectively, more efficiently. Now, action steps here are upgrading systemic agreements. In a health and fitness scenario, a systemic agreement might be your agreement with a coach. You get together at a certain time, whatever, and this is how this works, and they give you a workout or whatever it is. And that's kind of the whole agreement. And there might be a level above that, which holds everybody accountable to showing up in a better way. With the systemic agreement, you might find a way that you can improve the whole thing by making it like a results-based benefit or something. Number two, we want to look for ways to upgrade individual agreements. And these could be individual agreements with, people in your house or something. Like, these are the quiet hours where we will protect our quality of sleep. In individual agreements like this, you might find something very, very powerful as well, just making your sleep quality a little bit better. God knows. One more point here, which is very, very relevant to the systemic agreements and the individual agreements, is that we want to encourage and reward input quality and desired results separately. So if the desired results happen, yes, that can be a thing. That might look like a commission for a salesman, and the desired result was like they sell a couch or something and they get a commission. But what about the input quality? We want to be rewarding the right inputs, even though they yield no specific output, but like, you showed up, you did the workout, that's something worth rewarding. You woke up and you drank your mineral water and whatnot, and you did a fasted walk in the morning. That is a victory and can be rewarded as such. That is counted as a win. You can tick the box on your refrigerator. That is a victory in your mind, and you are more inspired to do those key inputs then, even if you haven't seen the desired result yet. So remember, the inputs, they are worth celebrating. The desired results, sure, they're worth celebrating too, but the inputs are what create it. So if you have a team that you are directly working with or leading or whatnot, how can you reward the input quality? Now, guess what? All of the things we just talked about, the better vision, the better goal, better actions, better efforts, better information, better team engagement, all of these can be applied to any one of the spokes on your wheel of life. How cool is that? You could apply all of these to your social life. You could apply all of these to your career life. You could apply all of these to your family. You could apply all of these to your spirituality. Whatever you want to. You can always find huge ways to upgrade any area. But of course, I would encourage you to upgrade and reiterate somewhere that is high leverage, a problem area where it would make a really high impact for everything spiraling up from there. We have been applying them to physical health and fitness, right? Because that's why we're here. There is a way where you can upgrade, where you can reiterate in some sort of high leverage way or problem area to make a really huge impact in spiraling up the whole thing. Now, real action steps here, some of them seem soft, but they are not. This is actual homework for who knows how long. One, observe yourself transforming your relationship with failure. Really, really significant. You can observe this every time, this little failure or big failure comes up. You can observe your relationship to it and how you can make that more true and more useful. Number two, observe the inclination to invest energy into anything that is not within your present moment responsibility. You might want to invest energy into worrying. You might want to invest energy like a neurotic into the past that you cannot change or something. When you observe that inclination, you usually take away the unconscious power, and then you are once again free to invest the energy where you think it is most useful. Action step number three, I suggest modeling your own wheel of life, like actually drawing it out, or you can do it digitally and you use my link, whatever, to play with it. You can do it on Lucid Chart. However you want to do this, just have fun making your own little wheel of life. And meanwhile, while you're doing that, there's so much connecting in your mind that has maybe not connected before. So it might seem like silly little homework, but I really do suggest it, if not just for the architecture in your brain. Putting it together and thinking about it will help. Number four is if you identify a particularly weak spoke or important spoke at least, and you want to upgrade that area with a new iteration cycle, then go through that process. Get a little bit deliberate, get a notebook out and map it out. What is your aim? What are your little milestone goals? And what are your inputs, your daily actions that are going to make that happen as best as you can figure out? Who is on your team when it comes to achieving this and developing this spoke? I know that you can do it. We have been focusing on health and fitness spoke this whole course, and you might continue to upgrade that spoke, and that is okay. Or maybe it's time that you go and do that to your social life. Maybe it's time that you go and do that to your career or something as well. These are principles that you can apply anywhere. Thank you for being with me in this one. Have fun developing and growing and making your wheel of life better than ever, and then directing it exactly where you want it to go, all aligned with your big purpose. My name is Noah East with Holistic Synergistic. All the love you can handle. Spiral up!